Uh, if you code it efficiently, it could work out. If you don't code it efficiently and everything's loaded at the same time, including the code, you're going to run into a lot of problems. So if you partition your code to load up on call, you can have a particular world where it keeps just taking time, attention from your users. Consider that into the factor. Skip and explore. This is the most important part, in my opinion, other than the 3D space that we're existing in, to actually examine the world we're in. This is kind of like a file system. Uh, alright, this is not a file system. Your file system is on the right side here. It's more like on the left side. See kind of how I can open these with these little triangles. Look inside the folder, then I got games, then I can look inside of those folders if they're openable, etc., etc., etc. That's the idea. So your concept here is to consider that this is just the same tree and it's organized with our world, whatever we decided to have in our 3D environment. The next case is select the car. Now we change to the focus. Anything we select, we change the focus. F is the greatest key in the world. Press F if you're lost. Focus. Focus is on the object you're currently selecting. So if you're really far away, select an object. Or select from the Explorer and then press F to move around the world without having to drag. Just select object by object. This brings a very important thing. The more organized you are, the more fun you're going to have in this world of imagination. The messier you are, you're just going to have so many files everywhere that you're just either going to load them all at the same time or they're just going to basically take up so much space or you lose where they are. So, folders, grouping, models together, important. But we'll play with those in the future in one of our courses when you do register for the full course on Roblox Studio. This is the properties window, so this is basically a little bit more detail about the current selected total. Things like name, is it archivable, is it going to save somewhere, the name of the whole object, where its location is, the parent is Workspace. We haven't talked about any of the other ones. Notice that in the background we've got a couple. There's our storage, server storage, where we can load and save different worlds. Remember that. You can expand your world infinitely if you utilize that server storage. Otherwise, most people just kind of work in the workspace and they're stuck, not stuck, but they don't understand what the other things do. And they're basically just doing this. Maybe they'll go into players, maybe they'll do the lighting, and that's it. You need to know some of this extra stuff, replicated first storage, to be able to connect to a actual secure factor. You need to make sure that an action, when you do a transaction, it's being done secure, not someone that can be able to do this from the other side. Or any action that would constitute hackable would need to be verified. If you want to jump, you verify the user jumps from both sides, server and the user. That's where you do replicated storage. That's where you do the sort of connection between the communication of different uh, users in one case scenario, but in the other case, interactions between them. I want to give you an item. We have two menus. Transact over to the other user. You have to have a secure factor of, is it an AI trying to transfer something that doesn't exist, or is it an actual verified user transacting over to the other? Sometimes a lot of users can get hacked, and essentially they just don't have any of our server-side scripting is where you really want to focus on to maintain security. Your own workspace will kind of be the loaded area. There's so many things I want to go over on the security space, but there's not enough time for this session. So consider that you have security also, but most students essentially, or most people that use Roblox Studio, use only this section. If even the replicated storage, if probably this much, maybe material service. There you go, maybe some material service. But other than that, the bottom never gets touched. That's where your GUIs are. Well, maybe some, yeah. Some use the starter GUI. Can set up the actual GUI in the starter player as well. So maybe those, but there's some complications in there that need to be cleared out. So, attributes, properties. This is kind of just extra properties. Next, change max speed. Let's see. You can change the object type max speed. Oh, right. Where's, Okay, so these are attributes inside. So these are actually variables inside of our car that are connected to the outside. And we can do this with custom coded variables that will essentially be represented by an internal value attached to the car somewhere in there. We're not going to search for it because it's actually somewhere. It's going to take a while. Body. Maybe it's in the body. I always get distracted, but we're not going to search for it. Basically, it's a little file that has an integer, has some sort of value that's connected to the programming, and we can actually modify it from the attributes without having to keep changing the program code and changing the variable there. So we kind of give ourselves like one of those DJ booths the ability to change the volume without actually turning the speaker and changing the power value. You're just using a knob that does it for you. From here, these are our knobs. The max speed is a case where we can change the car's max speed. I want to do it a lot. Because, yeah, why not? Whoa, that's fast. Yeah, it is. Playtest. Let's go. And finally, when you do press the play button, that's when everything gets loaded.